1912, the magnificent ocean liner RMS Titanic set sail on what would become one of the most famous voyages in history. Built by the shipbuilding company Harland and Wolff and operated by White Star Line, the Titanic was designed not just as a ship, but as a floating palace. It represented the peak of luxury travel during the early 20th century, attracting some of the wealthiest and most influential people in the world. Among its many remarkable features was the extraordinary price of its most luxurious tickets, which allowed passengers to experience a level of comfort rarely seen on the ocean. The Titanic carried passengers from different social classes, but first-class travelers enjoyed an experience that rivaled the finest hotels in Europe. Their cabins were spacious and beautifully decorated, often featuring elegant furniture, comfortable beds, and intricate wood paneling. Some of the most expensive suites even included private promenades, where passengers could step outside and enjoy fresh ocean air while gazing across the Atlantic. These exclusive accommodations were reserved for the richest passengers who could afford to pay an extraordinary price for the privilege of traveling aboard the Titanic. The most expensive ticket sold for the Titanic is often associated with one of the luxurious parlor suites located on the ship's upper decks. These suites were designed to provide ultimate comfort and privacy. They included separate sitting rooms, bedrooms, and sometimes private bathrooms, which were considered extremely luxurious at the time. The interiors were decorated with fine carpets, elegant curtains, and beautiful artwork. For wealthy travelers, staying in one of these suites was like living in a private apartment while crossing the ocean. One of the passengers associated with these luxurious accommodations was the famous American businessman John Jacob Astor, who was among the richest individuals in the world at that time. Astor and other wealthy passengers were accustomed to luxury and expected the best service wherever they traveled. For them, the Titanic offered a unique opportunity to enjoy both comfort and prestige during their journey to America. The cost of the most expensive ticket on the Titanic was astonishing for its time. Historical estimates suggest that the price of the most luxurious suites was around $4,000 in 1912. When adjusted for modern inflation, this amount would equal well over $100,000 today. Such a price meant that only the richest passengers could afford these accommodations. For most people of that era, even a second-class ticket was considered expensive, while the cost of a parlor suite was beyond imagination. Passengers who purchased these elite tickets enjoyed access to the most exclusive areas of the ship. One of the most famous features was the Grand Staircase, an architectural masterpiece that connected several decks. The staircase was decorated with carved oak wood, ornate railings, and a glass dome that allowed sunlight to illuminate the interior space. It became one of the most recognizable symbols of the Titanic's luxury. Dining aboard the Titanic was another highlight for first-class passengers. They enjoyed elaborate multi-course meals prepared by highly skilled chefs. The menus included delicacies such as oysters, roasted meats, fresh vegetables, and elegant desserts. Meals were served on fine china plates with polished silver utensils, creating an atmosphere similar to that of a luxury restaurant. Dining was not only about food, but also about social interaction, as wealthy passengers gathered to discuss business, politics, and society. Entertainment was also an important part of life for those who purchased the most expensive tickets. The ship featured elegant lounges where passengers could relax and listen to live music performed by a professional orchestra. These musicians played classical pieces and popular songs of the era, creating a sophisticated atmosphere throughout the ship. Passengers could enjoy music while sipping tea, reading books, or engaging in conversation with other travelers. The Titanic also offered facilities that were rare on ships at that time. First-class passengers had access to a swimming pool, a gymnasium, and a luxurious Turkish bath. These amenities allowed travelers to maintain their routines of relaxation and wellness, even while crossing the Atlantic Ocean. For wealthy individuals who were used to comfort and luxury, these features made the Titanic feel like a floating resort. Social life among first-class passengers was vibrant and lively. Wealthy travelers often spent their days walking along the promenade decks, enjoying the sea breeze and spectacular views of the ocean. Afternoons might include reading in the lounge, playing cards, or attending small social gatherings. Evenings were reserved for formal dinners and elegant conversations that often lasted late into the night. The presence of influential passengers also added to the prestige of the Titanic. Business magnates, aristocrats, and famous social figures all traveled aboard the ship, making it a center of high society during its voyage. For these individuals, the journey itself was as important as the destination. Despite all the luxury and elegance, the Titanic's story would ultimately become known for tragedy. On the night of April 14, 1912, the ship struck a massive iceberg while sailing through the cold waters of the North Atlantic. The collision damaged the hull and allowed seawater to begin flooding several compartments. As the situation became increasingly serious, crew members began preparing lifeboats and organizing the evacuation of passengers. For those who had purchased the most expensive tickets, the sudden transition from luxury to emergency must have been shocking. Only hours earlier they had been enjoying elegant dinners and music, unaware that the ship would soon face disaster. At approximately 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, the Titanic sank beneath the icy waters of the Atlantic Ocean. More than 1,500 people lost their lives in the disaster, including many passengers who had traveled in first class. Survivors were later rescued by the ship RMS Carpathia, which arrived hours later after receiving distress signals. The story of the Titanic's most expensive ticket represents more than just a price tag. It symbolizes the extraordinary level of luxury that the ship offered to its wealthiest passengers, from private suites and gourmet meals to live music and exclusive facilities. The Titanic was designed to provide an unforgettable experience for those who could afford it. More than a century later, historians and researchers continue to study the details of life aboard the Titanic. The story of its luxury, combined with the tragedy of its sinking, has captured the imagination of people around the world. The price of the most expensive ticket remains a powerful reminder of the wealth, ambition, and social hierarchy that existed during the early 20th century. Today, the Titanic is remembered not only as a technological achievement but also as a symbol of human ambition and the pursuit of luxury. The passengers who purchased the most expensive tickets expected a comfortable journey across the Atlantic. Instead, they became part of one of the most dramatic and unforgettable stories in maritime history.